And we're back for another web developer portfolio review. So, first things first, let's get started. Let's load some of the, or check out some of the static assets again. What am I doing? I'm good. All right, empty cache, hard reload. We just want to take a look at any kind of high file sizes that shouldn't be that high, but it looks like this is a pretty minimal website. So that looks okay. All right, so let's dive right in. Professional server homepage. So this is a portfolio, just to give some context. Is this a portfolio? This was the first dynamic website made by Brandon. Why are you talking about yourself in third person? Just say myself or me. Crap, is it me or myself? I always get that confused. If it's at the end, after the verb, I think it's me. I don't know. I got into web development for a reason, not writing, so don't trust me with that. But either way, like don't. I think it's weird to talk about yourself in third person. Like the goal of a portfolio should be to create a connection, create trust, just create kind of like a personal experience with the user. And doing that, trying to do that in third person is very, very difficult. It's built with a humble Flask architecture. It was truly a labor of love. Though I now have experience with using more complex technologies, the site holds a special place for me as a critical benchmark in my understanding of web development. Okay, so it sounds like this is kind of the version of like how a blog would expose your growth as a developer and kind of what you're working on and give a little flavor to it to show your personality. Like this just seems like a very, very personal page for you that you've probably added to over time as you've grown as a web developer. That's what this appears to be, at least to me. There are many like it, but this one is mine. You can navigate the website by clicking items listed at the top. If you're up to it, why not leave a short poem or try to get a high score on asteroids? My portfolio is also available. Okay. Okay, so you gave me the link to this. So I'm going to treat this as your portfolio. This is your portfolio. Okay. I think I'm going to have a lot to say about this. I just want to sum it up in a way that's constructive. If I were an employer and I go to this website, I'm confused on what to do. I see one thing that feels normal to me, that feels comfortable to me. If let's say you sent in your resume, you link this, I don't know how this is going to be relevant to me, or this. Is this a portfolio project? It can't be, right? Because your portfolio is here. Is it like asteroid scores? Are we in like is this a website for asteroids? Because that's usually where you're going to find high scores. I'm confused. So professional server homepage, what in the world does that mean? If this is a portfolio website focused on delivering what you can do to an employer, there are a lot of things confusing me right now. So let's actually start from the beginning. Professional server homepage. What does professional server homepage mean? How is that relevant to me right now? This is a dynamic website. Okay, I get you like poetry. I think poetry, you don't have to see poetry on portfolios, but it can definitely connect with some developers. It can definitely connect with some managers that do like poetry. We just need to make sure that you showing your poetry is effective at convincing them to interview you, that you're a good cultural fit. So I want to think about this one. But anyways, I'm going to go to portfolio. This is the only thing comfortable to me at the moment. This is more relevant, right? Eager to develop software that brings, like, this should be your portfolio. What? Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, if you link to anything in your resume with what I've just seen, link to this. And I would actually give this its own website. I don't know what I would do. Okay. I really like some of the quirky projects that you've worked on, and I think this is really interesting. I think this is going to be attractive to a lot of developers that are going to especially appreciate some of these old style games. Like, this is really unique. Like, you are very much driven, because I remember talking to you in the meetup, and you are very much driven into building and exploring quirky avenues of development. I think you just like development for development's sake. You like programming in general. It seems like you like a lot of potentially data visualization and gaming experiences, and building those out with development. I think you have some quirky projects that employers are going to enjoy. But this is the information. First of all, you don't need this. Unless you're getting traffic to your website, you don't need your contact information. They have it already. It's a waste of space. I love the picture. Again, very personal picture. And I think, especially with how you brought up poetry earlier, I think it does. It definitely shows your personality. I don't think you're lacking that. What I would focus on is aligning some of this stuff. So you have a lot of interesting, quirky colors, and I think it kind of works for this portfolio. It feels like a very retro, not a retro, just kind of old school type of website that was maybe built in the 90s. And that might just be your flavor. That might just be what you enjoy building. But that is probably going to connect with only some employers. I think a lot of applications, a lot of web apps, people want modern applications. They want modern looking applications. And there are employers that might be curious if you can produce something like that. So what I would even do, it might not be your style. I would even just try to, we talked about building a landing page. I would even just try to build a kind of a modern looking website, like an actual website, because these look like applications. But building an actual website, like a landing page with a contact form that actually works. I don't know what I would do. Here, I'm going to focus on what I do know. Because what I'm doing, I'm thinking out loud right now. Here's what I do know. This is irrelevant. Eager to develop software that brings value to your company. That sounds so cliche. That's boring. It's just like putting that you are a team player on your resume. It's a waste of space. Everyone's a team player. You have a lot of uniqueness about this portfolio. Why not include like a line of poetry or something unique here? That can kind of sell yourself as a developer. I think you can do better than this statement. This statement is very boring and it's not that effective. Align your image, right? So align your image with this. It looks like you have a specific height here. Align your image, so the bottom of the image with this. Same with here. With this, like you did it. You kind of did it here. I think you gave a specific height. You can give like a min height for these. I would bring this down a little bit. Create a little bit more space between your sections, so everything's kind of clunked together. Projects created. Why do you have a... I would actually include a header here if you're going to use headers. But I'm curious how that header... Oh, this is like align this. Okay, so make sure this, the left of this is aligned with this, and I would try bringing this over and see how it looks, but I would include the header here as well. So personal website, what does this go to? This should open up in a new tab. Well, I guess not. It's the same website. These are two different websites. I want you to realize this, and I would actually host them as such. Personal GitHub. Okay, again, open in a new tab. Especially with personal GitHub. I think personal website, if it's the same website, that's fine. What you are lacking is links back to like your home page of the professional server. You shouldn't, if someone wants to get back, they shouldn't have to click back and then scroll all the way down to like see personal website to get back. They don't really know what this is to begin with. So how are they going to know that's how you get back to the previous page? So some people will have their header be a link. You can have it be black text, or you can even include a back button here. But the flow of this is a little quirky. But either way, this needs to be a new tab. I've experience in working with the following technologies. Spell it out. Like, use your words here. A lot of these icons, I don't even recognize some of these icons. Some people might, but, you know, I would actually have text describing these. You can hide the text, and maybe when they hover over this, the text appears. I might do that. But there are going to be some questionable icons that people don't understand, and this gives me nothing about your experience when I don't really know what some of these are. But I do think having skills, I think it's pretty healthy. What my big question is, are you an aspiring developer? Do you really know all of these? If you've never had a position, I question that. Like, you've probably dabbled in them, but do you really know them? I would definitely emphasize the ones you know best. I would actually probably order them from left to right. I think that would be really healthy. Or, I mean, like, sometimes your portfolio should fit the position you're applying for. So if you're applying for a front-end position, I don't think you're applying for a front-end position with this. Maybe you are, but usually people with this type of portfolio, I often see them applying for back-end positions. But either way, like, if you're applying for front-end, you know, HTML and CSS are probably one of the most important things. Put them over here. Web application that gives surveys asking personality questions while collecting data on how the users take the survey using JavaScript events. The information is then plotted on graphs, so correlations between categories can be assessed. Again, use your words here. This is cool. This is useful. Did you get any users behind this? If you did, talk about it. Talk about the value that you provided, because you literally emphasize value to your company, and you're not proving you're providing value. Prove that you're providing value with some of these applications. Like, even if you had your mom, your dad, your grandpa playing your game, like, talk about, like, how you gained a little bit of a user base. It's okay to say, you know, I gained about half a dozen people playing my game and got some feedback and reiterated on that, but that's really healthy. You know, we talked about it last night about how that kind of exposes, or that shows that you've been exposed to the agile process and kind of just, you know, pushing something out and reiterating on it. That's important. CRUD application, which allows users to create and edit images, then display them using HTML5 canvas. Drawing tools were created. That's pretty cool. You have some really cool projects. Deployed on AWS, I think. Why? Okay, all of these should be deployed, first of all. Why aren't they deployed? People are going to want to see a live link to that. See the website. Again, this should probably be a new tab. Draw on professional server. That's fine if you want to put these applications on subdomains. It might save you some money. Web application where users are able to No tech skills are needed. Build their own website using... You should show this. Show videos of this. To allow smaller companies to maintain their own website over time without a software. Team, the code base can be used to allow content creators easier access to site building. Now, I see you spell everything out here. You do things very differently. Why does this look different than this? Put it as a card. This almost looked like a different section. I was expecting this to be a different section, and it was surprising to see this was another portfolio project. And keep your wording consistent. Currently a GitHub repository located here. See the code on GitHub here. Just be consistent. And just use these words right here. You really could just have like a GitHub link and then a live link. Or C website or whatever you want to word it. Usually people will put like live site. Or, I don't know. You could look at different portfolios. I think that's a little less important as long as it's very clear about where you're going. But yeah, this should be another card. Make this consistent. Make it the same height as these. Create a little bit more space here. A little bit more space here. Either get rid of these headers or add a new header here and create a little bit more space on the top of the header to distance it from the previous section. Let's take a look at mobile. Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay, weird spacing here. Okay. This does not stack well on mobile. I would emphasize to... never mind. I'd still get rid of this section. Create a little bit of padding, top and bottom of the section. I would flat out increase your image. I know it's going to bump your about. I think your about is helpful. I think your project create... I would actually put the projects created above. I think these are more interesting. These are a much better selling point than this. I think with as quirky as this portfolio is, I think you're doing a good job at kind of selling who you are as a person. And I do actually think this will connect with a developer or manager in a much better way than a lot of portfolios I see. A lot of portfolios are very clean, they're very minimal, they're very modern, but they're very cold too, right? It says nothing about them, and it just, the purpose of it is just to look good, right? They don't really do a good job at creating that connection with the user. And like the first steps for them is to even just personalize it, put a picture on the web page. But in reality, as far as connecting with the user, they don't do a good job on it. And I think this website actually does do that very well. Where this kind of falls short a little bit is there is so much information. And I think I would have a concern of, do you really understand your user? Do you understand what your user, like what is your user looking for when they visit this website? What's most important to them? And I think that can be solved with even just how you're delivering the information. I think you have a lot of information to deliver. Don't expect this to chase someone away. This is too much text. That's why I'm saying push it at the bottom. For most people, I say shorten the about me, but I feel like you're unique enough where it's going to be your strength. But I would push this at the bottom. Your projects are going to be more important. I don't know why you have created. Just put projects. I think where this is going to, as far as your understanding of the user and just understanding of just basic HTML and CSS and very fundamental design patterns, I think you can improve all of that and just the perception of that by creating more padding, increasing your font size. This looks really small. This is not, hold on. Font family. Actually, what am I looking for? That's interesting. I'm actually not used to some of these web dev tools. I'm literally looking for font size. And I haven't used web dev tools in a little bit. I've been doing some back-end stuff. So I'm going to have to explore that. But what I'm saying is this looks like a very small font. And I think you can increase this especially on mobile. People are going to be squinting their eyes. I think, okay, cool. We're just going to run through this. Like every time I want to say something else pops up into my mind. So right now, like I do these live, they're very raw, and I'm literally just running through my thoughts. So you don't need to bold this. I don't think you need to bold this. You just need more spacing between this paragraph. I would actually put like, I think your skills are more important than this information. I would actually put this above, and then a little block of text. You can include your personal website, but you need padding around this. You need an increased font size. There's no way. There is no way. Why does it say font 33? I want to figure that out. I'll do that after this. But either way, there's no way this is going to be 16 pixels. This is tiny. You can't even read this. So we need to increase the size of that. So what you could do is put these cards on separate lines. So this will contain all of this area. This will be pushed down. This will be underneath it, and this will be underneath it. This will have the same style underneath it as well. And try to find an image for this if you can. But I would even still use the same card style. I think like even a video would be really interesting. If you uploaded a video of building a website with this, that would be really, really good. And then you could put that in this container, but in this card. I think that'd be very powerful. But yeah, the font size, like this is a little bit more readable. This is a little bit more readable. This is a little small. So we talked about padding. If you can, probably break that up into a couple different paragraphs. It's a lot of text. What else? So I think a contact me is pretty healthy. Because I think so here's my thinking. If you potentially have something that can grab users elsewhere, where they're not going to be coming to your website from a cold application, but that they might visit. I mean, poetry, you have content. You have content right here. I don't think anyone is going to be attracted to... I don't think this is going to provide a lot of SEO value in... I don't know if you've even entered this in any search engines, but I don't think this is going to bring traffic. I think this might. These are completely separate websites. Poem list. The poem is poetry. The above statement is not always... This is an application, right? Oh. Oh, okay. So you're not necessarily... You don't have a catalog of poems. These are applications, Asteroid and poems. Here's what I would do. This is what you should sell. This should be your main website. I am so glad I figured this out. This should be your main website. And These applications, asteroids, and poems should be more portfolio projects. I have no idea why you separated them. It makes no sense to me. This page is irrelevant. I've read everything about it so far. To me, this is irrelevant. This doesn't tell me what I need to know. Make this your main website. Add the portfolio projects, and that would actually bump you to 6. So you could have 6 cards on desktop, at least on my size. But if it gets smaller, then the cards will be bumped down a little bit. But I think getting a little bit more comfortable with responsiveness with CSS would go a long way with you, and it would really make your portfolio shine. I think you have a quirky portfolio. I actually like the color. Okay, let's get to that last. But I actually really enjoy this portfolio. I think you have a lot of fundamental design to apply to this portfolio, and spacing can do a lot with that. Prioritizing this portfolio can do a lot. Increasing the font size, like this looks like a smaller font size than this, right? If it is, make it consistent. Yeah, this definitely looks bigger. But more importantly, now we got to worry about, so we talked about like what you can do. We're making this the main portfolio. We talked about everything we're removing, everything we're adding. Now contrast. Contrast is a very tricky thing. I would explore with different contrast tools, but like watch, I actually didn't realize, and I got to do some front end work. It's been a while. But I didn't realize that you could actually get contrast from this. This 7.7, this is not good contrast. I don't know why it's saying good contrast. Black on a slightly darker orange, black on a green, that's not really good contrast. Black on gray isn't really good contrast. And again, put a little padding here. So what you could do, you can look up a contrast tool that will give you kind of a contrast grade of 2 different colors. And there are a lot of tools that you can use that you give it a background and it will actually suggest a font color that does have better contrast. And it can give you a selection of font colors. In fact, you can even take some of it. There are tools that you can even take some of these colors, like you really seem to like this brown background. Is that brown? I don't know what color that is, but I'm going to say brown and green. Put that in there, and it will fill up your color palette with other colors that will go very well with this website. But I would experiment with putting this background color putting this background color in a contrast tool and just seeing what comes up. I think this is a little bit harder to read. It's not impossible, but the tools that I talked about can fix that. This was, I'm going to be honest with you, this is a really interesting portfolio that I had to catch what I was saying very often. I was like, this isn't typical. This looks weird. Oh, this actually looks pretty interesting and unique. Like that kind of was my thought process all throughout this portfolio. It was very hard to review this. I think this is going to, I have an old CTO that would love this type of portfolio. He's not old. He's just a CTO for my old position. But he would love this type of portfolio. It's very unique. It's very quirky. And we talked about it last night. He dabbled in tons of different technologies, built a lot of weird apps. But the point is, I think this shows that you love to, you really love to build for coding's sake. You love to explore. You like to learn new things. You like to build things that are going to capture your attention. It looks like you have fun coding. That's what this portfolio tells me. And I would love to work with a developer that has fun coding and that loves to learn and that loves to pick up new things. Now, I think where your portfolio is going to become even more effective is if you can show that you can build a website that's going to be relatable to the industry you're applying to. So we talked about like building a landing page just to get you more comfortable with HTML and CSS, and I think that can be an interesting task because you are getting into web development. I don't know if you're focused on full stack. This doesn't say anything about it. I don't know if you're focused on front end, back end, full stack. I would actually emphasize that. But I'm gonna assume it's full stack. I don't really know what it is, because that's probably the weird thing about this portfolio is I don't know what you want to do. What do you want to build? Who do you want to, what kind of developer position do you want to hold? And I think, here, maybe you've talked about that. And talk about code with others. That's when I decided I enroll in coding dojos when I graduated from the program. I'm going to build websites using 3 full stacks. So you could build an actual website. And mean. Django, what? I think that's terrible. Coding dojo. I've heard some stories about coding dojo. I think they spread you too thin. That was kind of the feel I got from it. And when developers would come out, they were just spread too thin. They could build interesting things, but they weren't really good at anything specific. That's a whole other video either way. But I think you say web developer, build an actual website. Not kind of like a web app, but I would actually try maybe... I would actually build a landing page, even just to get you more practice with CSS and HTML. You can put that as a portfolio project. You can continue building. These projects, but the next steps of what I would actually do is try building landing. So get this application up, get a landing page up for it. The live link will go to the landing page. Just show you can show. We kind of ran through what a landing page looks like. But so yeah, I'm not going to go into it here, but build a landing page for these websites and then have a sign up link or kind of like a link that actually just goes right to the web app. And build a landing page for this, build a landing page for this. That is going to make these portfolio projects way more effective. And I think if you do have once you do have those applications, I would actually push these applications out to users. Post it on your LinkedIn or post it on Reddit and get a user base behind that. If you can even get a few users that are using your apps, that's what you want to talk about here. That's the value that you want to highlight in these cards. You also want to talk about what it does, but I feel like these projects are almost there to deliver that you know how to create an application that people are going to enjoy using, and you know how to sell that application. So you not only know how to build that application, but you know how to sell it well too. You understand the user that's going to be using it. When you have that knowledge, I think that's that's going to make this much more effective, much more powerful. I have so many, I feel like I have so many ideas that are popping up in my head with what you can do with this, but I think I have to cut the video at some time. So I like this portfolio. I think it shows, it has a lot of flavor. It definitely is a window into who you are and your personality. I think it does build trust with the user. I think it has a little bit more of an old school theme that a lot of older developers and some younger are going to appreciate. So I think you are doing a good job at creating that connection. Now let's work on making it more effective, making it a little bit more professional. And when I say professional, I'm talking about making these applications usable to the public, usable to your users, that show that you understand your user and that you can build a professional application that provides value to someone else. Professional application doesn't mean like exclude all games. It means an application that will be used by others and that can provide value to others and potentially monetary value, like if you ever wanted to sell a game. But you don't have to try to sell anything. That's it. Awesome job, Brandon. This is one of the more unique portfolios that I've taken a look at. I think we'll wrap it up here. Cool. So if you like this type of review, again, I'm pretty much just spitting out my thoughts. That's how I do my reviews. That's how I enjoy doing my reviews. So it's pretty raw, unfiltered. But the goal is to help each developer get that position in a way that's going to fit their personality and really like hold on to that uniqueness that they're bringing to the portfolio. If you like this type of review, like the video, it lets me know. If you want me to review one of your websites, leave a comment below, or even just DM me on Twitter at DeveloperDonTV. Almost forgot my Twitter. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, and we're going to keep posting these for as long as people request them. So have a good rest of your day, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next review. See ya.